hello, everybody, and welcome to the In the Works Scriptworks produced podcast, or is it a pod show? I can never really remember because I don't probably know. There we go. Now we have got a fantastic evening set up for you today. Normally we talk about a load of crap first and then we go to our special guest. I say normally, we've already done it once. Actually, this is our second time. Obviously last time we had the fantastic Sam Coleman. We have an equally amazing guest with you today, but before I bring them out, let's say hello to the rest of Scriptworks. We have, of course, the brain behind Scriptworks, Emily Isaacs.
Hi.
Oh, clap. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, you're well.
Yeah.
How is anyone? How is anyone these days?
Kids again, aren't we? It's crazy times.
I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, "How are you?" And he went, "Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right." And I went, "Are you really?" He went, and I went, "We're all a bit shit, really, aren't we?"
Yeah, we're all a bit shit.
I think we need to start being a bit more honest about it. So yeah, actually, I'm a bit shit. But
weren't we all like 2020 can get lost? 2021, yeah, great. Right, let's say hello to the wonderful Orla Phipps.
Hello. I'm good. I'm not too bad. It's all
good. To be young. To be young again. To not know what's going on. Everything good. How's your gran?
She's doing well. Yeah. She's had her first vaccine jab, so it's all good. It's exciting.
She's now had that chip implanted so that Bill Gates can find out when she goes for her wee in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah, of course. All of that stuff.
Emily kind of gave us a confused look. Do you not know what's going on with that, Em?
What, the microchip?
Loads of people think this COVID vaccine is Microsoft's way of putting a chip in you for tracking.
I mean, we carry a tracker with us everywhere.
I know, right?
Exactly. They're not going to go to
the point.
This new vaccine is it's new technology, but because of this new technology, they've already think they might have a vaccine for MS. The same people that created the Pfizer vaccine.
Really?
They're starting that with because of the new kind of vaccine.
That's a vaccine for multiple sclerosis, not a vaccine for Microsoft.
No. Not that.
Probably wouldn't want to do anything with that. Right, now let's introduce Chris, not from Coldplay. I like the way you put that there. That's fantastic. How you doing, Chris? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Same as everyone else has said. It's a weird time, but doing all right. Same old, really.
Look at that. Have you dyed your hair and beard?
No, the greys are still showing, Greg. Don't worry, they're still there.
It looks really, really dark.
You're a baby.
Yeah, you're like 12.
I wish.
Oh my goodness.
It's not even a real beard, it's just paint.
No, it's just stuff.
Oh,
dyed your skin.
Well, look, talking about real beards, our guest this week has an absolutely glorious beard. Now, normally, as I said, we talk some crap and then we speak to our guest, but our guest not only today is feeling a little bit under the weather, so we've got to give him lots of love, everybody. He has his wife Emma is doing their own show today on their Facebook page at 9 o'clock. So we only have him for a limited amount of time. But ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the In the Works podcast, the sickeningly handsome Rory Wilton.
Welcome to the mighty beard.
Now, Rory, first of all, let us say thank you because we know the voice is not doing great today, but the show must go on, hey, Rory?
Absolutely, yes. After 20 odd years in the business, then the show always must go on.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Rory, we got some fine Cornish ale here. Yeah, and look, Rory, I've got one for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Sadly, due to social distancing rules, I'm going to have to drink them both myself.
Well, Emma's just brought me a cup of tea, so cheers.
How is Emma?
She's all right. Do you want a quick say hello?
Yeah.
Let's say hello. Here she comes. Just Just got to lean round and
Hello.
there she is.
Hey, my lover.
Greg and Emily and Orla and Chris, not from
Absolutely.
Coldplay.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, are you having a nice time so far?
Yes.
Has he been all right so far?
Well, it's only been a minute. It's different.
It's been 1 minute.
I
so,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, he's been terrible. I would not have him back if I were.
Thank you for tea.
Bye-bye.
Well, you know, we are actually hoping to have Emma on the show in a future episode.
Ah.
Talk to her. And then
Excellent.
you can give her a tough time, Rory.
I'd never do that.
Oh, now we just got a few people coming in. My friend Lorraine Wood has given us a thumbs up and some smiley faces. And my
Hello,
buddy
Lorraine.
Matt Thorpe is joining us via Twitter. First time.
Hello,
tuning
Matt.
in, already enjoying it. Thank you ever so much for joining us, guys. That's absolutely fantastic. Now, Rory,
Yes.
what can I say about you? We've been looking to work
So
together for
charming.
years, haven't
We have. It's been several years. We've got to know each other. Well, 5-6 years ago, was it? Something like that.
Yeah, I
Um,
would say 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think. And
we've had near misses a couple of times.
I know,
Yeah.
really, really near misses, and I think I was down in Cornwall, because you live in Cornwall, don't you? Whereabouts
Yes.
do you live? Are you near Padstein?
I'm sort of I'm about 10 miles away from Padstein. I'm sort of Port Isaac is actually my nearest sort of coastal village. So I'm up in North Cornwall, just on the edge of the moors here, on a nice, lovely old farm complex that the family have. So we all live here together.
For anyone saying Padstein, what? Padstein,
Yes.
Padstow has
Padstow.
been colloquially renamed Padstein because
Absolutely, because my mate Rick bought it all and made it famous.
yeah, that's right. Have you ever had his fish and chips?
Yeah, I have. They were very expensive.
But were they any good?
They were fish and chips like you'd have in lots of other places. They really weren't anything. Like, you know, they weren't 15 quid with the fish and chips. Let's put it like that.
You've had Rick Stein's fish and chips. So I've been down Cornwall, but again, some near misses. You've been down this end of the country, some near misses.
Yep.
And every year we've said, this is the year we're going to work together. This is the year.
This is
And
the
then-
one.
And then 2020 happened.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, yeah.
2021 has gone wrong. We've desperately been looking to work together for such a long time. We got lots of mutual friends. We got lots of shared stories of mutual friends. As well and stuff.
Moving on.
But bizarrely, this year, finally,
Yes,
we get to share a screen together.
we do. We finally get to be in. Hang on.
Have you got your?
I have got my script
It's all reversed.
I haven't got
all,
mine yet.
all marked up. Everything. Oh yes.
Oh my goodness! So yes, we get to be in Bloody Tower together.
We do.
Sadly, however, we're not actually sharing a scene together, are we? You're
No.
playing.
I'm
Who
playing
you're playing?
King Edward. Yes.
King Edward, my
King
favourite
Edward.
of potatoes.
Hence, yep. So hence, I'm vigorously growing the beard to have it as sort of as majestic as I possibly can by the time we start filming.
Well, it's already majestic, brother. It's already majestic.
Nowhere near yours.
No, dude, it's not about the size; it's about what you do with it, isn't it? And I'm playing a character called Bartholomew Greystock. Obviously, we don't want to give anything away, but it's a
I'm
film
so
by.
intrigued now. What? So Bloody Tower, is this it? When you said Bloody Tower, I had visions of a horror movie. But now you said King Edward, and what was your character's name, Greg?
Bartholomew Greystock.
Bartholomew Greystock. That doesn't ring horror to me quite so much as
Well,
medieval fantasy. So
This is it's one of our very dear friend Charlie Steed's new films. And Charlie is an extraordinary cult horror director. He's an amazing chap with his reputation is growing all the time. I'm lucky enough. This is going to be my fourth film, I think it is, with Charlie. And Charlie does extraordinary horrors, thrillers, very, very tense pieces, and he goes from complete blood and guts to you gripping cushions and leaping over the back of your settee stuff. He's a brilliant director and a really, really lovely man, and I'm really chuffed that Greg, you're joining the ensemble, because the wonderful thing about Charlie is that once you're in with Charlie, you keep coming back. So yes, it's very much like sort of the Hammer horror kind of style. We had a film out last year which was an English werewolf. Sorry, werewolf in England.
Really well, didn't it?
Oh,
it was really well.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it actually.
Yeah, it did phenomenally well, and it's still doing really well.
6 weeks, pretty much in the top 10 of the British DVD charts.
Yeah. We were completely blown away, but yeah, it's just had a huge wave of love from all over the world, and that followed the previous film that we did, which was An English Haunting, which I would recommend everybody to go and see, because that's a very, very different piece of work. It's I'd say it's very much got an The Exorcist kind of air about it. It's that kind of thing that you really don't want to put the light off when you go to bed after watching it. Yeah.
And also another very good friend of mine and Rory's, Kate Davies Speak, has appeared in a few of Charlie's movies, most notably probably Barge People.
Yes.
Which is very much. I mean, I've got to confess, I haven't seen that yet. But
I'm in it too.
I've seen.
I'm in it too. And Emma's. Well, the thing is, all these films that we were mentioning, Emma, my partner, who you saw earlier on, is in all of them as well, because she's had an extraordinary time in that she's got to a certain age in life when usually the roles for women start to dry up, and she suddenly had this amazing renaissance as being this kind of horror hag, and the industry absolutely loves her. Absolutely love her. So on one hand, she's the queen of talking books, because she does loads of work for Audible. On the other hand, she's a psychopath on screen.
How is she as a life partner?
Yeah.
And on that note, let's crack open the Doom bar.
Yes.
There we go. There's our first Doom bar. So Rory and I will be sharing the screen together. I'm also filming for one of Charlie's other movies this year, called Silver Blade, which I think shares a few of the creative creatures from your movie last year. So that's going to be good. I heard some fantastic stories from sets and really interesting stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. And then later on this year, you're being tucked away in a sub. Is that right? Apparently, I am indeed. That's another one of Charlie's films. Yep, we're going to be doing a submarine horror, which I'm very excited about, because I've wanted to do a submarine film ever since I was tiny, so we were bouncing ideas around last year, and Charlie came up with this idea, and I said, I want to be in it. Put me in that one. And so apparently, I shall be in the sub. So very excited about that. So how cool is that? How cool is that? That's awesome. In a year where it's all going wrong again, if you do things the right way, stuff can still happen. Well, that's it. I mean, it's been this last year was horrible for everybody. But we've been very lucky in that we've had bits and bobs keep coming in, and I was lucky enough to get a feature film during the gap between lockdown 1 and then the autumn lockdown, called Cat Flap, which will be coming out hopefully this year, which is a horrible, nasty piece of work, and then lots and lots of other bits and pieces we've kept going. But this coming year, my diary has gone mental. If it can all
if it all comes off, I'm going to be a potentially very busy actor this year.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
I'm very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. And I appreciate how incredibly lucky I am. I thank the universe for being so kind.
So I want to say here, it's really easy as an actor to fall back on saying you're lucky, and there is an element of that. But also, you're an incredibly talented actor with a massive heritage, not only of screen but stage, and that's where you started, wasn't it, on stage?
Yeah, I graduated from the Hub Theatre School in 1992, and I went straight out of drama school into an audition, and then by September I was doing national touring theatre, and I've been making my living as an actor ever since, and I've done lots and lots of theatre all over the UK, all sorts of from sort of small touring things to huge productions, and some theatre in some amazing places. Down here in Cornwall, we have quite a heritage of doing amazing theatre in amazing places, and I've been very lucky to be involved in a few of those. So, and
there's one of those that I want to talk about a little bit later. You probably guess which one it is, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But so what I really want to say is that it's easy to fall back on saying luck, but it's skill, it's talent, and it's also delivering, because in this industry, these guys will know. So in Scriptworks, we have Emily here, we have Orla over there, Chris, who we're all producers, but we all have different facets. My facet is the acting side of things, because I'm trying to forge a career. I've only been doing this for 4 or 5 years, earning my living from it. I got a ton I can learn from people like you, Rory. I've also got a ton of knowing what not to do from other people. So it's not just luck. It's hard work, and this is a marathon, isn't it? This career path.
That's it, absolutely. I mean, we usually, Emma and I run a youth theatre. We've done that since mid-90s, and obviously this last year had to shut down. So it's very weird not seeing any of our kids, because we don't have children of our own. So our youth theatre kids become like nephews and nieces, and we see them from the age of 7 go right the way through to when they go off to drama school, university, whichever. But we always tell them that always be lovely to work with. It's a craft what we do, and it is a marathon. Don't go into acting if you want to be famous. Go and be on.
If you want to be poor.
Exactly. But if you want to learn a craft that you will always be honing and developing, if you want to explore all the facets of human nature and of yourself and those around you, and come to a better understanding of the world, then it's the career for you, basically.
And it is a tough career. It's a tough career because the highs are phenomenal, the lows are painful.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's been interesting is, I think that this year that we've all been through, an awful lot of people have come to find out what it feels like to be in our profession all the time. That we always never know where the next check is coming from. We never know what jobs are around the corner. We've never got that security. And suddenly, everybody is in that world. And it's really tough. It is really tough, and you have to become hardened to it. And it, as you say, a marathon, because you have to stick in there and work on those relationships, and work at your craft, and always be brilliant. Always be brilliant and be lovely to work with. That's the biggest piece of advice I give to young actors, because it pays dividends for your whole career.
Which can also be summed up, I guess, with don't be an asshole on set.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah.
Now,
because
we have. we have Russell Banks watching on YouTube saying,
Russell
he worked with you many years ago.
Yes, yeah.
Such a
Russell
pleasure.
played my son in a film that we did with Falmouth Film School. Oh, many years ago. Russ and I have been sort of keeping an eye out for projects to work on together again ever since. But I was in a wheelchair for that one, which was interesting. Yeah.
Interesting, which could lead on to some conversation we're going to have a little bit later. It may not. We'll see how contentious that goes. Now, I before getting into acting and before extending my network, I was aware of you in one of my favourite British productions, and I got a few of them. Doctor Who is up there. The Detectorists is up there, but not. And I kid you not. You can ask Nikki. These guys know Nikki, my wife. Nothing makes our heart yearn more than Doc Martin. It is just a warm hug of a TV show.
Yeah.
See, that's how I feel about Poldark.
No, you want a warm hug from Poldark? Here we go. Not from.
Well, when you do your next rewatch of Poldark, when you watch season 2, you keep an eye, because you'll see that I was paid thousands of pounds to hug Aidan Turner on a regular basis.
Whereas many people would pay thousands.
My character was one of the only characters that kind of would get tactile with him, and we'd hug. And we had many scenes together on season 1 or 2, and we got some really good hugs in.
Emma also worked on Poldark. Did she not?
She did. She played Mrs. Zaki Martin, Tristan Storrick's wife on the show, and she was again in the first 2 seasons. It was that. How awesome is that, being able to work together and be life partners together? That's awesome. Have you made lots of videos together? I don't mean anything iffy. Well, I don't know. we have actually with Charlie and with another director, Grace Fox. We have made quite a few films together now.
Serpentine.
Yes. Serpentine.
In particular.
Yeah. There's another one that's in the works that I did with Grace and the actress Megan Tremithick, who has played my daughter on several occasions on screen, and is playing my daughter in this film as well. It's still in kind of in editing. It's a film that she's never quite been happy with, but that hopefully will be coming out sometime this year. And Emma and I have been able to work on screen together in that. But in Poldark, there was one day that we actually were in the same scene together. But because I was rich and she was poor, we were at different ends of the funeral.
No. And were you looking across at each other, kind of blowing the odd kiss and then the odd wink, or are you consummate professionals?
No, we were completely there in the zone and crying my eyes out. Yeah, it was a very, very moving scene. Although I have to say, some other actors who are much, much better known than I were not quite so professional, shall we say. But never mind, moving on. But yes, Doc Martin. Love Doc Martin. I've been on the show for 10 years now. This will be my 6th season this year, if filming does go ahead. So yeah, very excited that we're all getting back together again. And it's a really lovely show to work on. And Martin Clunes is just like he comes across in the documentaries he does. He's a genuinely really lovely bloke, and very silly and quite rude.
That's brilliant.
That's what you want, though, isn't it? When you're working with someone, you want someone who doesn't take themselves too seriously and can have a bit of a laugh at the right moments.
Yeah,
but knows how to get
Yeah.
on with it and be professional when needs be.
Well, when you think that he and his wife Philippa, they own Doc Martin. They own the production. It's their production company that makes the show. Everything about it comes out of their pockets. And they're working when they do a show, you know, they're working 12 months solidly on this show, from early kind of concepts through writing, and then into production, and then post-production, then finally all the kind of it coming out and doing interviews, blah blah blah. And the whole show rests on Martin's shoulders, and he carries it incredibly well. He's a brilliant captain on the ship in that he is always in a good mood. I'm absolutely amazed every time we're working outdoors down in Port Isaac, because what you don't realize is you see the show and there's 2 or 3 of us in front of the camera having a chat, but behind the camera we can have maybe 500 people watching,
which is like twice as big as Port Isaac.
Yeah.
I've driven through Port Isaac, and it's tiny.
It is tiny. It is absolutely tiny. And no word of a lie, we were doing a scene once. I was chatting away to Martin in this scene, and a chap came out of the crowd, walked straight through the middle of the scene, went up to Martin, and Martin, we've come all the way down from Burnley. This is my wife, and we've come to have a look around Port Isaac and see where you do for Doc Martins. Oh, it's marvelous here, isn't it? He said, I'm terribly sorry, but we're actually in the middle of filming a scene. If you go back over and stand behind the camera, I'll come and have a chat with you in a minute. Oh, all right. Oh, yes. Sorry about that. So off they went. We did the scene. And when we finished, over we went, had a chat with them, photographs and everything, you know. And I've worked with lots of other actors. Are you that would have, yeah. But,
Port Isaac, very, very much. You know, I'm a big fan of Cornwall, and I could talk with you forever about the magic of Cornwall.
Yeah,
I love Tintagel. Tintagel is my spiritual home, which is, you know, just up the road from Port Isaac.
Yeah.
And on a holiday there, many years ago, my wife and I, we drove through Port Isaac to go and see where Doc Martin was being filmed, you know. And there was one of these streets. It's so narrow you can drive through it, wind down both windows, and knock on doors either side, just out of the window. So tight, but absolutely beautiful. And you know, if you ever hear that they need a day player, I'm just saying I can be there in 4 hours. Okay, I can be there, and my family is West Country, so I have the lilt.
All right. Now I'll message you. I'll message you.
Now, whilst we're talking about Port Isaac,
yes,
of course, we cannot mention Port Isaac without the other massive to do with Port Isaac, which is the Fisherman's Friends. The band, but lovely filming and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude! I mean, number one, I'm not surprised that you were in it whatsoever, but what a lovely story, and Purefoy was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I love James Purefoy.
Oh,
he's amazing.
I love him too. If I was, then I would. I'll tell you.
he genuinely seems, because he comes across as a real gruff bastard in the show, which is obviously the character he's playing. But in so many interviews, and you know, we're here to talk about you, but he seems like a really lovely bloke and genuinely heart of gold. You know, he really, I guess.
He is an absolute joy to work with, and it was a very, very special production. It's when you work in telly and film and theatre, you develop intense relationships with people, very intense friendships. You're in each other's lap all the time. You're spending 24 hours a day with each other for weeks and weeks on end, and then you finish that project, and more often than not, you sort of drift back into your real world and don't keep touch. One of the brilliant things with Fisherman's Friends was that we all stayed in touch. We're all mates. We all send each other happy birthday, Merry Christmas, checking on each other all the time. We became a proper family, like the Fisherman's Friends, which is really what they wanted to happen. And yeah, it's one of the most wonderful projects I've ever worked on. Yeah, it's very, very special.
That's nice.
And it is beautiful. One of the things that I heard in an interview with regards to Fisher and Friends is representation of folk from the West Country in TV and film, because there's this belief that if you have a regional accent, then you can't ever play an intellectual. This is a well-known trope in the entertainment industry, and actually there needs to be more representation. What do you? I mean, you have an award, don't you, for your contribution to the arts? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I was incredibly honoured, not last year before, that the Cornwall Film Festival made me a fellowship of the festival and gave me an award for my lifetime achievement within the arts in Cornwall, and promoting the art, promoting Cornwall and the creative arts of Cornwall internationally, but specifically with young talent. It's something that's very important to me, encouraging the next generation of theatre makers, filmmakers, television makers, in all their aspects. And yeah, I was incredibly honoured and very surprised to receive this enormous award, which weighs 10 kilos. And I know that because I did my back in carrying it back to the car.
have you got it to hand?
You weigh it.
Hang on.
Oh, Orla's disappeared.
Orla has some business to attend to.
Okay.
Oh, is that Cornish slate?
Yes, yes.
Cornish slate?
It's Delabole slate.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and it's really heavy.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome. Fellowship award.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And that kind of leads into, what are your thoughts upon representation in the arts of people from the West Country?
I think there used to be a big problem with it. I think that things have opened up a lot. It'll be interesting to see how things develop post-lockdown, post-COVID. We've been very lucky, or we are very lucky, in that we have extraordinary locations down here, which means that lots of productions like to come to Cornwall. I'm very lucky in that I've become established enough within the industry to be one of the go-to actors when productions come into Cornwall. They'll go, "Oh yes, we need someone like, we'll get Rory in." So I'm very lucky. I have lots of my colleagues down here who don't get that. So it's tricky because having a West Country accent, you are initially kind of cast as fishermen, farmers, so on and so forth. And I do think your comment earlier about sort of people with West Country accents not being cast as intellectual characters, there is an element of that, but I'm hoping with the kind of the developments within the casting industry of making everything much more inclusive, that may well be approached in the future.
Interesting to hear. Now I think Orla's back looking up Instagram. That's awesome. So yeah, speaking about representation, and you think that might change. Now, I think I'm going to dip into this just ever so slightly, because earlier, look at that face there. Earlier, you said you played a disabled person recently.
Yes.
Sorry.
Some years
recently, as in a few.
In the last 10 years, yeah.
You said, you played a disabled person.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, there's a massive push for authenticity, where, to have a disabled person actually play
Yeah.
a character with disabilities. And it's gone a little further, and I think if we include it here, this stops it getting out of control potentially. That Russell T Davies has said that it's his preference to cast gay actors for gay characters, which is absolutely fantastic, I think. And it's led on to a conversation about inclusion and casting the right actors for the right roles, but it could also lead to a should only gay actors play gay roles, should only straight actors play straight roles, should only disabled people play disabled characters. But of course, what if you need a character to walk in one scene and is disabled in another scene? So, you know, what was your experience? And there's no judgment here. This is just what Russell T Davies has said over the past couple of days. No judgment whatsoever. And this isn't the place to get into a big hoo-ha about it. But what was your experience of playing a disabled character?
Well, I'm very lucky in that two friends of mine are professional actors who are wheelchair users. So I was able to sort of check in with Paul and Anna about their experience, and bring that to the role. I think now I'd feel differently about being cast in that situation, knowing how difficult particularly disabled actors find getting work within the industry. I know things have improved enormously in the last few years, but I fear that there has been a degree of tokenism going on now, that you'll see a lot more people of differing abilities within adverts, for example, which is great that it's very inclusive, but you're not seeing them so much within dramas. And I think that is something that needs to be addressed. I think ultimately, as far as casting is concerned, I feel the best actor for the job should be cast in the role.
I think you'll find a lot of actors agree with that.
Yeah.
It is a very tricky subject, and you know, I've got two children who both have learning disabilities, and I know there was a bit of a Twitter fight recently about a film that, gosh, I can't remember who it was. Was it Cardi B?
I know Sia.
Sia made, where she hadn't cast someone with learning disabilities in the role. And we talked about it on the last podcast, and you know, I personally feel that you know, it very much depends on the situation that the role demands.
And also the size of the production, for example, as well. Because if you have someone who's on the spectrum, and they have a lot of learning problems, putting an awful lot of pressure on them in a central role in a big film, you'd have to create such a soft bubble of care around them, that you know the film might not get to do what it set out to do, because they had to be looked after so much to ensure they were enabled to do the work that they wanted to do.
And you know, from a pragmatic producer's point of view, you've got to get the film shot, or you've got to get the episode shot, and you've only got a certain amount of time to do it, and every second on the set costs thousands and thousands of pounds.
Absolutely.
Last month we had Sam played young Hodor on the show, another good friend of mine over from Hastings Way, and he played a character, Bud, in Leatherface, who was a non-verbal on the spectrum character. And he said back when he played it, he was very naive. If he were to play it now, he would be far more aware of saying, well, yeah, I'm happy to play that, but I need to represent this properly and honestly and truthfully. So we need to take more care about how we're doing this. And I think that echoes kind of what you're saying.
Absolutely. We did back in 2000 a touring production by our hugely talented friend Christopher William Hill, called The Watched, and it was a four-hander touring theatre piece that was done in the round, and one of the characters was blind. And we did 2 different tours of it, and we got people in from the Blind Association to train the 2 actresses that we were working with how to be blind on stage. We needed sighted actors because the stage would get changed throughout. For example, the final moments of the show, it was a wooden floor with an enormous Victorian kitchen table on it, and all the floorboards were ripped up and placed into different holders within the floor. Suddenly it was all transformed into a forest, and there was lots and lots of tripping hazards and falling over hazards, for example, and it would have, for a sight challenged actor, there would have had to have been a lot of extra rehearsals. And it's down to the same thing you're saying, that making a film costs thousands of pounds a minute. And when you've only got 3 weeks rehearsal, you've only got 3 weeks rehearsal. But we took great pains to make sure that our actresses were very, very convincing within their blind act.
I think that's all we can do, really, isn't it? Is just try and research things as best we can, consult people who actually have had these experiences, and obviously where you can employ people with disabilities or who have that particular quality about them, then you should. Absolutely. I was watching the Four Danes the other day, which was about Judi Dench, and it was a documentary with Judi Dench and Eileen,
Maggie Smith,
and Joan Plowright. It's a lovely documentary, but of course they were showing clips of Laurence Olivier, who not so long ago was playing characters in blackface, and you just could not do that now. You wouldn't do it.
No, you wouldn't even think of doing it.
You wouldn't even think of doing it. So obviously things are changing.
I think it's how it's done as well. If there's a character who the person they're representing wouldn't be able to act, for example, I've got an auntie who's autistic and she's non-verbal, and she wouldn't be in a position where someone of her caliber would be able to act in that sense, or even have the consent to act. So if there was an actor portraying them, as long as it's done right, it's giving them a voice in a way if they can't do it themselves. So there's 2 sides to the coin, I think.
It's advocacy, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah, that's it.
There's a fantastic film that I recommend everybody watch in their life, and it's called Dead Man's Shoes. And Dead Man's Shoes stars Paddy Considine as he's come out of the army to go back to his brother who's being bullied by some local thugs. It's got one of the greatest film soundtracks ever. It's very much traditional English folk soundtrack. But Toby Kebbell plays Paddy Considine's brother, and Toby Kebbell is playing a character with learning difficulties, and I genuinely believe they found an actor who could act that had learning difficulties. And actually, Toby Kebbell was just a magnificent actor, and even scarier is that was his first film role. And lots of time was taken to ensure that it was done tastefully, not to be taken the mickey out of. It was done as part of the narrative of the film, but they needed a neurotypical actor to be able to take the direction and not potentially have a breakdown on set, which would be technically endangering one of your members of staff if you were forcing them into this position. So it is difficult. And I think what someone said, I think it was Orla, if you can, you should. And I think that's it. If you can, you should. That pretty much
absolutely.
Let's move on from this topic, because this it's
going to be just like for hours.
But I think we've reached a really, really good point. If you can, you should. Something I'd like to talk about now is the muzzle cat.
Mousel cat.
Oh, see,
Muzzle.
my father always pronounced it muzzle because he showed me a photo, and I was like, "Oh, look, that's mouse hole." And he was like, "No, it's muzzle."
No.
And so I've always pronounced it muzzle, but
Yep.
it is actually
Mousel.
mousel.
Yeah. Mousel cat.
Am I right in saying that was a relatively small theatre production that went nuts for you?
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about that if you can.
It was a show that my friend Guy Watson directed, and he approached me about the original production, which was done for a week at the Minack Theatre, our wonderful theatre down here that's on the coast that you'll have seen in every documentary about Cornwall.
And can I just quickly, is that based on the book by Barbara Antonia?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a very faithful rendition of the book on stage, and I play Tom the fisherman. And he
your typecast there, Rory.
Yes, playing another Cornish fisherman. He approached me about the role, and I was very, very busy doing another show, so I couldn't do it. It then went to a Christmas show they did one year, and he then approached me because the original actor that they'd cast, again, I was too busy to do it because I was off filming something. The following year, he said, "Would you be prepared to do it?" And I went, "Oh, all right then," and absolutely fell in love with the show. It was extraordinary. Again, it's another show that's in the round. We play to 100 people in a hall in Mousel, and now people come from literally all over the world to see this show. And year before last, for the autumn, we took the show to the States and did a tour of the States, and it sold out everywhere we went. And we are going back, hopefully not this coming year, but the year after, for a much longer tour. And there's now talk of it going on a national tour of the UK. And yeah,
we have a place in Eastbourne you can bring it, don't we?
Hey,
Yay!
it's a really, really lovely, life affirming piece of theatre, and it's based on a children's book, and we have many, many shows where the audience is just adults and they're all in floods of tears.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a very, very special piece of theatre that I'm incredibly lucky to be part of. And we were all absolutely gutted that we couldn't do it this Christmas. But what we did do is we had filmed the show a couple of years ago, and we had drive-in performances on a huge screen that people could go to around Cornwall. And on Christmas Eve, in 5 different global time zones, we made available on YouTube.
Wow!
It was an absolutely huge success. So so that sort of set us up for all sorts of potentially exciting things in the future. But yes, I've been on that show. This year would have been my 4th year on the show, and hopefully we are indeed going back to the States in a couple of years with it. And I can't wait to get back on stage with my very dear cat Mauser.
Oh, that's awesome! I just want to throw a shout out to Tasmin, who
Hello,
Tasmin's a friend of ours, a friend of Scriptworks Productions, personal friend of mine, and she's as mad as a box of frogs, isn't she? Really?
Well done, Tasmin.
I did an audition with Tasmin for one of our shorts, and it was an absolute honor to get to work with her. So she's watching. So lovely to see you here. What I'd now like to talk about is something very close to our hearts here at Scriptworks Productions. Scriptworks, you may not know, was born out of us lot working together and on an independent horror film called 13 Graves.
Yes.
And we learned a lot on that movie. And last year, 2019, Em and her husband Gina had the idea of creating their own company, which then came to fruition during lockdown because no one had anything else to do, and so we've become an independent production company that's got Chris aboard, Orla aboard, Emily. We got another person called Carys who can't be here today; she's not feeling so well. you've done some indie work, and you mentioned it earlier with Grace Fox,
Yeah.
Serpentine, which I watched and made me very anything with. Yeah, I
Don't give the game away. Don't give the game away.
It's very, very emotional.
It is very emotional.
Yeah, it really is, and tugs on my heartstrings. It's the beautiful thing is they're free to watch on YouTube. So type in Grace Fox Films and go and watch Serpentine, and also go and watch Hidden Nowhere, which was an interesting little short, filmed in lockdown, but you were able to film it because you live
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes. Grace first got in touch when she was in her last year at uni, and Serpentine was her final piece on her film school course, which is extraordinary when you watch it to think that that's a student director. I think it's an astonishing piece of beautiful work, and
really lovely shots in there, aren't there?
It's a beautifully made film, lovely script, and we've stayed very, very best of friends ever since. There are actually 2 longer films that haven't been released yet that we've done with Grace that are in the works, and there was and of course this summer's one, which was great because she was able to come down to the farm, and we did the whole thing in a day, which was a bit mad, really.
Oh my God.
Am I right in thinking Grace is something to do with Bloody Tower as well, isn't she?
Yeah. She's on production team. Yeah, she's become a regular in Charlie's production team now. So she was she did An English Werewolf, and you'll be seeing her on both films that you're doing with Charlie.
Fantastic. What's been lovely for me is getting to know all these people, getting to know some fantastic people like you, Rory, who you know, even though we've never really met, I kind of feel like I know you really well, not only because I've watched you, but we've chatted on the phone a few times. We shared some stories from set, and we just seem to get on. And there are lots of people like that. And you thought, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. And it's slowly happening. And I love that.
It's a bloody marvelous thing what we do.
It really is. Now, Rory, I'm aware that you will probably get killed unless I let you go and hand the reins over to. So just quickly let people know what's going on in just a minute.
Right. In just a minute, over on Facebook, on Emma Spurgeon Hussey's page, you can listen in on the 3rd installment of Jekyll and Hyde. Emma and I have been reading books right way since the beginning of lockdown last year. So on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights, 9 o'clock, tune into Emma's page, and you could listen to us read for an hour and discuss the book like book club. And
are you reading it tonight, or are you taking?
I'm going to go and lie down now. Emma will be reading tonight.
Mr. Hyde voice.
Yes, I know. But I would have several characters to play, and they'd all sound like this. So tune into Emma tonight. It'll be on her. Obviously, all the readings are on her page, so there's many of them to find. It's very good fun because we are very, very silly as well.
That's fantastic. So guys, once you've finished watching our podcast, jump over to theirs and watch what's going on, and just see what I did there, where my loyalties lie.
Brilliant.
And now you've got something big coming up, haven't you? I know you signed an NDA, but you signed on to a massive film. We've got absolutely no idea what it is. We want to wish you the best of luck with that. What's coming up that you can tell people about? Anything?
Bloody Tower. There's another lovely film I'm doing in the summer called Mudlark, season 10 of Doc Martin, and there's another film that we're bouncing ideas about with that Emma and Grace and I are going to do together. There's a number of different productions, shall we say, and hopefully Mouselcat back on stage next Christmas.
That's fantastic. Well, we'll let you get out of here, Rory. It's been an absolute pleasure, my brother.
It's been lovely. Thank you very much for having me.
So much. Thank you to your lovely wife for letting you do this. I'll let you get out of here now.
Big round of applause for Rory.
We'll chat soon.
Yeah, see you soon.
Take care, brother.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hey, so there we go.
Oh, it's been
lovely.
What a lovely talk, right? I mean,
Very nice guy.
I'm just going to say, I kind of know all the best people. It's so many amazing.
He's really lovely.
Yeah, I mean, he's handsome as well, isn't he?
Well, you put me in a really difficult position here, Greg, because if Dino's watching this, and I go, "Oh yeah, Rory's really good,"
He's going to be growing out his beard.
I'm going to be in real trouble.
Yeah, you'll find Dino start growing out his beard a little bit.
Catch him fishing.
Yeah, no, that's
he's
fantastic.
really
I've
he has a great voice as well. Did he have two microphones?
No, but he's ill. He's ill. That's his
No,
audio voice,
I guess,
Orla.
yeah.
But he does have a really nice voice anyway.
He does. He has a very calming.
Thank you, Tasman. Tasman said he's a handsome guy.
Right, so there you go. So Tasman, you agree with Emily? He's a handsome guy. Yeah, that's fantastic. There we go. How are you doing, Tasman? Are you all right? I see my friend, my buddy John England.
Hi, John.
And I hope with a surname like England, you're reaping the benefits of Brexit. We have another friend of mine, Pat Garrett. Oh, Emily, don't do that look. I felt that look. I see you like go.
Oh, someone has to do it because it's.
And are we in the second hour yet? No, I've got 3 minutes,
almost.
and then I can crack open the second one. So yeah, we have Pat Garrett has dropped us a heart. Can I do that? Am I too old to do that? Is it creepy if old people do that?
It depends if you do it there or you do.
Rip me liver. There we go.
Nobody screenshot that, please.
You're going to delete this afterwards.
Now you've said it.
That'd be best. Now, look. Normally we do it where we talk some crap, as I said earlier, and then we talk to our guest, but we've spoken to our guest first. So now it's time to talk about crap. The first thing to talk about is obviously follow us on all our socials. You're probably watching this somewhere. I see that we got some people watching it on YouTube, some people watching it on Twitter, some people watching it on Facebook, but please do go and hit us up at all our various places. We have our Facebook page. If you're not watching this on Facebook, doesn't matter. If you're watching on Facebook, you already know this. But to our guys on Twitter and on where else are we streaming this? YouTube. That's YouTube. It. Hit up facebook.com/Scriptworks Productions. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, head over to our Twitter.
Greg, if they're watching it anywhere, that's fine.
No, we shut up. Look, just follow us everywhere. Okay. I'm gonna.
They can follow us. Yeah, they can follow us everywhere. That's fine. But if they're watching on one place, they don't want to watch it on another.
Surround sound.
Yeah, that's not what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
It's like you don't listen to me, guys.
I'm sorry.
However, our most important link is this one right here. Patreon.com/Scriptworks, which kind of sounds really weird when you say it like that, doesn't it? But it should be Scriptworks. Yeah, Scriptworks. We should make a thing out about that. Follow us on Scriptworks. Now, you might be wondering, why is he telling us about Patreon? It's because we want your money. What we want is for you to subscribe to us and give us some of your hard-earned money for this stupidity that we do every single month. But of course, it's not stupidity. We absolutely adore doing this. We're not making any money from this. This is to help us provide services. This is to help us use this streaming service. This is to help us create things for you guys, including short stories, short films, audiobooks, all this kind of stuff. And last month we sent out a questionnaire to our patrons and we got some responses, and we asked our Patreons, what do you want us to do? And what did they say, Emily?
Which one? The first one or the second one?
We did the first one last month, didn't we?
Yeah, the first one was a short story, which is now available on Amazon.
That's right.
Patrons get. Oh, don't end big on me. I'm big enough anyway. Oh yes. So yes. So last month was a short story, which is now available on Amazon. But patrons get that as part of their package. And then this month, I think the patrons opted to get some scenes and a storyline arc for one of the characters, and the character is going to be Ada Johnston. So for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, this
Ada
is
Johnston, Emily.
Who's Ada Johnston? Okay, so she's one of the characters from the Diamond Alice story world. And if no one's heard about Diamond Alice, it's a story world that's based on the true story of the 40 Elephants, who were the first all-female gang in Lambeth. They actually ran from a sort of like the 1880s through to about the 1950s. But our story world kind of centres on where Alice Diamond, our main character, takes over the gang in 1915. And Ada Johnston was one of the fences who was, a fence was someone who took all the stolen goods and dealt with them in some way, like sold them off or altered them to sell off, and disposed of them. And she herself was part of the MacDonald family, who were a really famous gangster family. Wag Wall and Burt MacDonald really ruled the roost of the male gangs in the area. So in choosing Ada Johnston, it's actually kind of opened up this other area of the story world that we can go into. So I'm really excited for this one.
So there you go. Now we can do that now. Boom!
Yeah, please do.
It's
so weird because all you're doing is staring at yourself. It's really strange.
It is weird, and that's something that I'd never do.
Much.
Oh, painful.
It's me or you.
It's good to see myself from this angle and this lighting. I just feel.
Oh, Tasman said she read the first instalment on Amazon and she loved it and she can't wait to read more. Oh, thank you, Tasman. That's so nice to know, because like I kind of wrote the story and put it out there, and I had one comment from one of the patrons who said that she loved it, which was great. But other than that, I have no idea what people think of it. It's really odd. You create something, you send it out into the world, and you have no idea what people think about it.
I think the general rule of thumb is, and I learned this kind of the hard way, I guess, is that if people don't say anything nasty, they think it's good, because people are quite quick to criticize or leave bad reviews if they find something crap. If they find something good, mostly people don't talk about it. So the fact that nobody said anything means that people.
But you see, in my mind, what it says is like they read it and then they go, yeah, it's not all that really.
People would tell you, in this world where the internet has given everybody a voice, people would tell you that. We have Rowan Alexandria saying she has all three open: Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
How's the echo?
Oh, my goodness! Now we know Rowan. I've known Rowan digitally for quite a few years. Again, one of my acting sphere friends. So it's fantastic to have you here. Thank you very, very much. Obviously I'd love to work with you sometime in the future. I'm sure something will happen in the future. And then, of course, who do we have watching?
Fenia.
The lovely Fen.
Hello.
There we go. Now, what I wanted to do was do this. Can I share my screen? Yeah, share screen. I'm going to share this because people deserve to know about the book you have. So look, there we go. It's here. Look, you can see our search for it. I'll delete that quickly. There we go. The Handover with Introduction by Emily Isaacs. Diamond Alice Book 1.
Isaacs. All right, Draven.
Honestly, you would not believe how many times I get called that. I get called it an absolute ton. Look, £1.77, or you can read it with a free app. That's a bargain. That's an
the reason why it's £1.77 is because that's the lowest price you can set it at without it being free. And I kind of figured it's only a short story. It's only like 9 pages, and a wee bit of introduction. So I kind of felt it didn't really need to be very expensive.
Well, let's take a look inside Isaac's book. Don't you groan? You wrote this.
I know.
There we go.
But it's just like...
Oh, is that the sample? You get the...
Yeah. You think that's what you get in the copyright page, and that's it.
Brutal.
I didn't do that. That's not me. That's Kindle. That's how they set it.
Oh, that's absolutely hilarious.
That's funny.
But yeah, so for the 6 people watching, bless you. If you fancy, head over to our patreon.com/scriptworksp. Pledges start from £1 a month. We know it's your hard-earned money. We've got no right to ask for it, but here we are asking for it anyway, to enable us to be able to produce our creative output without any creative control from our oppressive overlords, I think is a fair way of saying it, isn't it? Everybody's going, no, we want oppressive overlords. What? No.
Also, it's also about it's also more about kind of creating a following for the story world itself.
And it's an amazing story world.
Because we all love the story world. You know, we want to make projects that could be anything. They could be a piece of theatre, it could be an audio book, it could be, you know, a short film script. We just kind of want to play with it and see where it goes and see where it takes us, and present the different stories from that story world in as many ways as we can, really.
Yeah. So please do go and pledge. It only starts at £1. We know it's your hard-earned money, but we deserve it more. So we're gonna go. Emily's like, Greg, this is your podcast. You can do what you want. And whenever I do it, she gives these looks. These people know I'm joking.
Yeah, but they don't.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's true. Okay.
Yeah. What was that, Orla?
It's funny because it's true.
It is funny.
I love the deadpan delivery of that as well.
What?
Now, while I'm thinking about it, I said it earlier while I was talking to the awesome Rory. Head over to YouTube, find Grace Fox Films, and go and watch her entire back catalogue. It's really good looking stuff, you know. It's really, really nicely shot, and there's some touching stories, some funny stuff in there as well. So yeah, do go and check that out. I did actually notice that she produced a short with Rory's wife Emma called Among Us, which I was going to tie into last month's chat with Sam Coleman about us playing Among Us, but I thought that was just too tenuous, so I wouldn't do it. But I've just done it, so is that a self-fulfilling prophecy or not? I don't know. So what were some of the other things that we were going to talk about? Because, you know, we got loads that we can talk about.
We were going to like whisper about ASMR or something.
We were going to whisper about ASMR. Emily was like, let's talk about ASMR. And we had a little chat.
You know, obviously, it's being in lockdown again, we're spending a lot more time with our family members, all of us, aren't we? And
I'm not spending any more time with your family members at all.
Not my family members, your own family members. And my family members obviously have their particular interests. And Ruben is really into listening to people eat. And I've discovered that it's this thing called ASMR, where you get people and all you see is their mouths. Right? So you can do that, and then they go,
What are you doing? That is not your mouth.
and then they go,
Biology at school.
I did see one YouTuber, Jenna Marbles. She did one where she had a green screen and she put it like over her face and drew a little face around her mouth, and it was like ASMR but just her mouth. And I think she ate chicken nuggets or something.
yeah.
And it was
Ruben's favourite is fish. Today we are eating fish and chips and ice cream. All is cringing. And then he sits there and listens to people eating.
I'm trying to find
It's an
a
ice
video.
cream.
I might be able to.
It's so that it's really, really odd. But he
H-
finds it
a loop of
very,
watching
very
people.
comforting.
I'm meant to be in Las Vegas right now, so to make up for that, I got stuck in a YouTube hole of watching hour-long videos of people on slot machines in Vegas just to see what they were like. There was this one called the Buffalo slot machine that I would watch literally hours of people just playing a slot machine. Like, that's sad, you know.
It's not well.
I say I'm not into ASMR, but then again, what I am into is watching people
Watching people on slot machines.
Too much time.
Right, look, I found something. I'm gonna play. I think this covers fair use because this is interpretive works or commentary.
Oh, don't get us into trouble.
No, this is fair use. This is commentary. We can.
Okay,
Pirate Back
alright.
Show copyright us last time for something.
What's he found?
But what I'm going to do,
What have
I'm
you
going to
found?
mute you all while so that you can't say a damn thing. And let's see. Don't write. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Right? How do I share screen? There we go. Share the screen. Don't show these tips again. I'm going to Chrome tab. ASMR fried fish and chips. There we go. So let's full screen that up.
Sound. Oh,
No sound. No.
There was no sound.
there was
No.
no sound.
There is
No.
now. There wasn't any
There is
sound.
now. There wasn't
Thank
when you
you.
played it.
Oh,
It doesn't matter because people
It
don't
adds to
really
it.
want to hear people eating anyway. Most people don't anyway.
So, guys, type in fish and chips ASMR.
It's just bizarre. But what's so,
All right,
so weird about it is
typing
how,
audio.
how popular it is. There are like thousands and thousands and thousands of food of hits.
Millions.
It's just
There's-
very,
yeah,
very odd.
The pickle
So-
lady is the most
The what?
famous. She eats pickles. She has a whole channel. She slurps pickles and it's so loud. Yes, I really know it sounds, but it's not. It's just. It's so.
Whatever gets you through lockdown, all right?
I'm not a
It's
pickle
not.
slurper. I'm a pickle
That's not-
slurper's mum, and I'm only slurping pickle till the pickle slurper comes.
You have to watch it to know what I'm talking about, but it's very
Really odd.
Right,
I just-
pickle.
no, in a way.
I'm now googling pickle slurping.
No, don't.
Gonna call.
Oh, no, obviously, I haven't got safe search on.
I
Right.
dread to think what's going to come up now.
My
Now-
goodness. So I guess what we're asking is, would you guys like to hear / see some ASMR?
Is that what we're asking?
No.
Hey,
God,
hey,
no.
look, Emily, we're
No.
transmedia.
No.
If people want pickle slurpers,
No.
little pickle slurpers. So
No.
our next Patreon poll will
No.
be about what you would like to see me slurp.
No. No, just no.
We'll just say the whole Doom Bar part of this podcast was the ASMR, you know, just
Emily, it's out of your hands.
quietly sip on the Doom Bar.
I see. Don't spit it over your mic. Oh, he's gone.
It's gone.
He's gone. Oh no.
It's
He's left
difficult
us
for you.
all alone.
You know, I can still hear you when you say all that, don't you? Oh my goodness, I had a load because it's fizzy. A load, it expanded and went back up into my nose.
Oh no. I hate it when that happens.
Oh, I've got Doom Bar ale coming out of my nose.
Oh, that's not nice.
Oh, no, it stings. It burns us. It freezes. There we go. So, ASMR. It's a rabbit hole. Don't go looking.
Yeah, don't go down there.
Yeah.
Don't go looking. One of the other things we wanted to talk about was Orla's nan in kind of a roundabout way, because at the start of the show we mentioned that your nan had her first COVID-19 vaccination.
She did. Very exciting. Very exciting. Very relieved.
Yeah.
When you say exciting.
Sorry, can you? I missed that.
Yeah. When you say exciting.
Oh my god.
Hold on, I need to turn the gain right up. When you say exciting,
Ew.
what do you mean by exciting to have a vaccination?
Because it's the start of feeling some kind of like it's
This is good.
it's safety, isn't it? That, you know, there's always that concern, like up until now, me, because, you know, I live with her and I'm a young person and I am lucky in that I don't have any pre-existing conditions or anything. So, you know, there's been this fear, I think, up until she's had the vaccine, at least the first part of it now, that, you know, anything I do in my life could result in disaster for her. But now she's had the first vaccine, that's kind of a glimmer of hope. You know, there's some kind of normality not too far away.
Okay.
Even if people are skeptical, you know, it's peace of mind. I think it feels very foreign at the moment, having peace of mind.
Have you got a date for her second vaccine yet?
We were told about 3 months. So
see, I really worry about this, though. I really worry about this.
So I don't know why I'm holding that. Hold on. Right. So, your nan's had the vaccine. Will you have the vaccine if you were offered it, Orla? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Just no.
Yeah.
No need to explain. Yeah. Right. Chris, would you have the vaccine if you were offered it?
Yeah, gimme, please.
Okay. I would have the vaccine if offered it as well.
Yeah, of course, without a doubt.
Well, that was easy, wasn't it? So
vaccines have improved so much. It's not as dangerous as everyone. I don't believe it's dangerous.
I also don't believe it is. Let's ask our viewers. We're not going to get into a debate about the Wither 2s and the Y4s. Bit of Tolkien there. But let us know if you would have the vaccine, just a yes or a no. We don't need to know why, just would be interested. We got 11 people watching. Would you have the vaccine? Yes or no? Just type yes or no in the comments of wherever you're watching this. I received a text recently because I have one of these, a careers card. No, it's a carers card. And so I have been, you know, I'm in the queue, I think, and I received a text last week about receiving the vaccine.
You got a text about getting the vaccine?
Yeah. I can't show you
with my GP. I had to get the Care for Carers to email them and prove that I was a carer. Otherwise,
see, I've got a carer's card. I haven't got a text about getting a vaccine.
Yeah, I had to contact them, and they still haven't heard from me.
I proactively received my text. I'm with a great doctor's surgery though in Eastbourne Town Centre, and I'm because
maybe it's based on your surgery.
Yeah. So I received a text. So I'm somewhere in the line, and I am going to have it, especially because of the kind of industry that I'm in. Not means you don't earn money.
Yeah, that was something I really wanted to talk to Rory about, which we just didn't get a chance to, was how he's found filming during COVID and during lockdowns and the procedures and how that's gone from him.
From my understanding, from chats and stuff that I've seen of his and chats that I had with him, the filming kind of pretty much shut right down, and some stuff was done, but was able to be done socially distanced, except from when he was performing with his wife.
Oh, you dropped out again.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I'm back. Yeah, because I'm using this new Wi-Fi webcam because it's much better than the old webcam, but it's got some teething issues.
Okay.
So from my perspective, the productions that I worked on, the one that I was going to be working on, I was due to go up to the studios for a COVID test this Friday. I was then due to go up again on Sunday, and they got a really quick turnaround for tests, about a 3-hour turnaround for tests. So, hopefully, that everybody on site doesn't have it. What happens with these tests, though, because there are different kinds of tests, and I learned this whilst working on the third day, was that there are two types of tests that I believe test you to see whether you don't have it, and tests that test you to see whether you do have it. The one that tests you to see if you don't have it is incredibly accurate, really accurate if you don't have it. But if you have anything, it says you've got it. But you might just have tonsillitis, or you might have the flu, the regular flu. And so, right.
So I should just take a drink.
There you go. Want to get COVID from Orla? Not going to happen. So these tests, if they came back negative, were incredibly accurate. No, you don't have it, and they came back real quick. A couple of tests came back positive, and what that meant was panic, because productions don't really want to shut down, especially in the middle of a pandemic. But what that meant was that people were isolated immediately. Protocols shot through the roof, so there was washing hands every 15 minutes. There was enforced social distancing. It was so rigid. Those people that had tested positive, we had individual bubbles. And those people that tested positive, their bubble was isolated. That's it, you're not working now until we test you again. And those two people and everybody in that bubble was then tested for whether they did have it. And every test came back negative. So the first test was a false positive. It said, you've got something. The next test was, is it COVID? So that's the way that worked. But that cost an absolute ton.
It costs a bomb. It costs a bomb.
It does. It costs an absolute bomb. Now, Emily, you mentioned earlier about some form of testing. What was that? Some lateral
flow testing. I only kind of they've mentioned it a bit in the mainstream media, but I only kind of really know about it because that's what they're going to do at Oscar's school.
Now, from my understanding, lateral flow testing gives you an accurate result within about 15 minutes. And I went and had a look. 10 tests cost £290. So that's £29 per test. Yeah.
That's not as bad as some of the others, which are like £100.
This one costs like 180 or something, but I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong on this. If it was true, it might have been a long time ago. But I heard when Boots first did private tests, it was like over £100 or something for one.
Yeah. It could well be, but as with everything, the more popular the more is done.
As the technology improves, it becomes cheaper to make.
Colin Spink says yes, he'll get it. Lauren Schofield says yes. Hey,
Yay! Hey, Lauren.
Orla.
I know Lauren from college.
What?
Your friend.
Yeah, that's how I think. I think that's how I got onto 13 Graves.
Really?
That's so
Yeah.
strange. Yeah, because
Lauren, we were at McDonald's with Lauren, and
be a runner.
there was a film happening. Yeah, and I was like,
Hold on.
oh,
Say that again, Emily.
Sam came to be a runner.
yes, yeah.
And Sam Schofield is
Lauren's
Lauren.
little brother.
right. Okay. Very, very good.
We all, for people who are watching, we know Lauren. Well, I know Lauren from way back when, because her dad was best friends with my daughter and son's dad. I think that's probably the best way to describe that one. Yes.
Schofield.
Yes, Schofield. Yes.
Oh, right. In which case, I know your dad as
Yeah.
Right.
So
My
hi,
goodness,
Lauren.
Thank goodness you got your mum's looks, hey? And then my buddy John England said yes. That's what it is. Said yes.
Chris is just sitting there like, I have no idea what's going on.
Chris is like, I don't have any friends. I don't know what's going on. Oh. Now, yeah, we're friends, Chris. Now, what's interesting is 3 people have said yes. No one has said no. And
Well, I don't.
But could that be because people are scared of saying no? A bit like when people say yes,
Yeah,
I hold everything the Tories are doing.
Maybe.
With a negative connotation.
But they might have different reasons for saying no. You don't know why they're saying no.
And that's why we said it's a no judgment.
Maybe they just don't want to publicise it, which is fair enough.
Absolutely. That's fair enough. It's just interesting that us 4 are yeses. Those 3 are yeses. No one said no. Whereas I see a lot of people on Facebook saying no and giving their reasons. I don't agree with their reasons. I think they're tinfoil hat wearing people. Some people.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was just saying, I think it's just in my blood because my family members way back when were like, "Do you want some cow stuff in your blood?" And they're like, "Yeah." And the first vaccine guy, it was like. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Let's put some context to that, shall we?
Yeah. I can't remember what it came from, but the first vaccine was an ancestor of mine, James Phipps, first guy ever to get any vaccine ever invented.
It's the smallpox vaccine, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I'd feel like, I don't know, it's nothing to do with it really, but it's just like now science is so much better. I mean, if they could say yes back then, you know, why not say yes?
Family name.
Yeah, I think I trust it way more than I would have trusted that.
I think, again, much like and this is outside of our remit, but it's interesting. Much like the MMR vaccine argument, people are so ardently against it. Whereas my wife and we spoke about it, and we said, let's say it does possibly cause autism. I'd rather have an autistic child than a dead child. So, even the side effects from this vaccine could be better than the worst effect of getting COVID-19.
Yeah.
I think that's sometimes how you have to think about it. Do you want, would you rather be dead? Right. Not
Depends how long lockdown is going for.
Thanks for joining Scriptworks Productions. Would you rather be dead?
Would you rather be dead? Can we please talk about something else now?
Right.
I don't want to talk about COVID.
The reason we spoke about it is that COVID-19 shut down not only the world, but the industry that we care about so deeply. Many people can continue working in the COVID-19 era because you can work from home. We can't do that. Imagine imagine your favorite film with like 2 actors in it 2 meters apart for an hour and a half, and we're not talking about Castaway, because behind the camera, as Rory said,
imagine Bridgerton.
Sorry,
Bridgerton, socially distanced. I mean, mind you, some of those skirts, they kind of enforce social distancing, don't they?
I don't know about Bridgerton.
They are massive.
You had quite a reaction to Bridgerton, didn't you?
I did. Well,
Do
you know,
like
with
it,
the whole Diamond Alice thing, you know, obviously I'm quite into my historical period dramas. I love Poldark. I like, you know, I love obviously Peaky Blinders, and I've even
The favourites.
the favourites. And you know, I'm not really into Downton. It's a little bit too chocolate boxy for me, but you know, each to their own. So when Netflix announced Bridgerton was going to come out, I was like, oh yeah, lovely big skirts ahoy. Well, you know, you watch it for the dresses sometimes, and I don't know, it's just, yeah. I thought, oh, this is going to be really good. And then I watched it.
Is it
so
one to
not for you.
Not
Not
great.
for you.
Well, I don't know.
Can you pinpoint one thing that you think makes it disappointing for you?
Just the one.
Okay.
Okay,
that
so
there.
well, for starters, all right. Okay, so if you view it with the opinion and sort of like have it in the back of your mind that this is a fantasy world, then it kind of works. If you view it thinking that you're watching a story set in you know, Queen Charlotte's England, you're going to be dreadfully disappointed. I mean, it is, yeah.
Is
Okay.
it?
I think that's the nicest thing I can possibly say about it. I mean, I'm not slagging off the acting. The acting's fabulous. The directing's really good. The costumes are superb. The sets are amazing.
But it
It's
just
a
doesn't
beautiful, beautiful chocolate marshmallow cake of a show. It's all style and no substance.
That's fair enough. Not everybody can like everything. I tried to watch Doom Patrol. I think I spoke last month.
Doom Patrol's amazing.
No, I love The Boys, but Doom Patrol I just couldn't get
It
into.
was too weird for you.
I started watching
Yeah.
The Boys, and it was just too depressing for me.
I love The Boys as well.
So
I
there
was
we go.
like,
But what I have been watching,
This is just too real. This is like too sad.
what I have been watching over the past month or so was Pennyworth on Stars TV.
Right.
Really good, great acting. It is
I'm
also
cool
an
with that one.
elsewhere world show set in the 50s, but there are kind of zeppelins all in the air. It's very much there are public executions going on, so it's very much an elsewhere world. But what I did learn from watching Pennyworth is that Alfred Pennyworth should have been Batman, because Alfred Pennyworth kicks ass in this show. Watch it, you won't be disappointed.
I'll have to try it then.
Chris, what have you been watching over the last month?
I'm about halfway through the second series of Staged, which is the one brilliant kind of well done lockdown drama that I've seen. So I haven't finished the second series, but the first, I would highly recommend it. It's brilliant, really, really simple, but really well written, and really just definitely worth a watch. That's my recommendation.
And isn't that interesting? I watched a couple of episodes and I was like, they put their name to this?
Oh
No.
Yeah. I just didn't.
No.
Yeah, it just seemed contrived.
Oh no.
Yeah, I didn't dig it. And I'm a massive fan of Tennant, and I'm a massive fan of Sheen. You know. But no.
I'd stick with it. Stick with it. It's just so good.
Yeah, but maybe it's my Bridgerton.
Maybe you should try Bridgerton and see.
Yeah, I'll love.
Yeah, that'll be the flip of it. Probably you love
I'll be
Bridgerton.
like, oh my god, those dresses!
There's a lot of rumpy bumpy in it.
I love it. Orla.
I've been watching, aside from the gambling videos of people going on slot machines, I've been watching docuseries called The Universe on Netflix, which is kind of like old now, and it's all about all weird things about the whole universe, really. And it's got CGI that looks very real. It's like you're traveling through space. It's really, really cool. And I've also been trying to watch like one film a day
Star
that I
Trek.
haven't seen before. So, no, it's this documentary called Star Trek. It's amazing. It's crazy what you talk about in the newspapers. But no, I just been getting into kind of learning about trying to watch educational things and then trying to watch films I hadn't seen before. So I watched The Matrix for the first time a couple of days ago. It is amazing. I watched the first 20 minutes of it when I was younger, and I didn't get it at all. I was like, why is everyone dressed in leather? And then I watched it again, and I was like, oh, it's a style of the film, okay. And I could watch it for the plot, and it was really, really good. I love Keanu Reeves.
What was it really leather? What kind of thing was watching?
What a question, I guess.
That's hilarious.
Sorry.
That's hilarious. Now, let's dive into this a little bit. Now, I know we're kind of how far into it? An hour and a half. You see, it goes quick, doesn't it? I adore the Matrix. I love the Matrix. I'm a role player, and I'm gonna do a thing. Emily might know this.
Oh God!
What? No, not that kind of role playing.
Are you Trinity?
Oh, SLA.
No, it's not SLA. It's Slay. Slay Industries. Slay Industries, but
I never played Slay.
Second edition, my favorite role-playing game ever. Went through a Kickstarter last year, raised about £100,000. I was one of the backers on Kickstarter for version 2. Here's Halloween Jack on the cover, some awesome artwork. I became very good friends with the guys behind Nightfall Games. I wrote a tiny bit, like literally a quote for one of the books. Another school friend of mine ended up getting involved in Nightfall Games and pushed this through and made this happen. Now,
so anyone I know?
Mark Rapson, probably don't know.
Yeah, vaguely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, vaguely.
Mark Rapson. Yeah. Good friend of mine from school. Actually, no, that's disingenuous. We weren't great friends at school. I didn't have many friends at school because I was a nerd, a geek, and I got bullied mercilessly. But he was one of the few people that didn't bully me, and we became good friends kind of in our later years in life. Because
I didn't bully you, did I?
No, you didn't. You were also a nerd, so
yeah.
Us nerds have got to stick together. So yeah, big fan of role playing. So when I went to watch Slay Industries, I was like, when I went to watch The Matrix, and you'll see why I made that slip up. It was so much like some of the plot of my favorite role-playing game ever, about these layered worlds within worlds, dream worlds. And I remember watching the film and was just like blown away. The very first time bullet time had been used, where people had taken still images, like 300 still images. Have you seen the documentaries about bullet time, Orla?
I've seen certain like YouTube videos about the special effects used and how Keanu Reeves like gave up half his paycheck or something to pay more to the SFX artist, but I don't know how bullet time is.
So the way that works is if you take a camera on a track, and you were to put an actor in the middle and spin the camera around, obviously you can, let's say you can spin the camera from there to there in half a second. You can capture it in slow mo. Yeah. But what they did is they put a still camera here, and then here was another still camera, and then here was another still camera, and they literally took individual photos within 2 seconds of each other over around 60 or 70 cameras. And then they created software that took this frame and said, make a frame in the middle, make one. And so this software would generate a frame in the middle. But then they said, well, make 1,000 frames between there and there. So all of a sudden you can slow down time to infinitesimally small periods of time. And that's how that bullet time works. When the camera goes round the character, they can have that happen in 1 second or in an hour, whether they choose to, by this creation of by this making frames in between each of these two real world frames. And watching that blew my mind. Watch The Matrix 2 and 3.
Yes, Reloaded is the next one on my list.
The Matrix 2 and 3 get so much hate, but they are full of story and philosophy and meaning.
There's a Matrix 4 coming out soon, isn't there? They're in production.
Keanu is currently in Germany filming the Matrix 4. I adore the entire trilogy, and when I was young and arrogant, I used to say, well, people that don't understand it don't like the second and third movie, they're just idiots, because it meant so much to me on a philosophical level, on a spiritual level. Watch 2 and 3 and please like them. I hope to the gods that you like them, because they are just so, there's obviously a very messianic feeling about the last couple of films, and I think sometimes you can't step away from, they're trying to replicate this character in this person here, but get past that and it's just an awesome film, and you got to watch them more than once because there's so much to see every time you watch a film.
For me, Chris, it did what I was told in Inception.
What do you think? Sorry, what were you saying, Orla?
I was just saying, for me, I was told Inception would, blow my mind so much, and I watched it and I hated it. And then The Matrix did what Inception told me it would do. It actually did kind of change my perspective of the world for a minute. Whereas Inception, it just made me. Maybe I watched it wrong, but I just didn't understand what they were trying to say at all. But it's different. It's different.
Chris, have you seen The Matrix?
I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the second two. Hold my hands up. I heard all the bad rumors, and I was like, I enjoyed the first one. I don't want to ruin it by watching the second two, but I will give them a go if they are that good. Yeah,
I think they are,
because brilliant.
They are so deep with story and meaning. They are not the action film that the first one is. Like Alien is a horror film. Aliens is an action film.
Yeah.
The Matrix is an action film. The Matrix 2 and 3 are philosophical dramas.
Okay.
Em, what do you think?
To be fair, it has been a terribly long time since I saw any of them. Obviously, I loved the first one. Second and third, I wasn't enamored with, but I was 20 years younger then, so I might see them now. I'm a completely different person now. I might have a completely different opinion about them, so I might have to give them a go. But I wasn't particularly impressed with them way back then. But also, when I watched them first time around, I had no knowledge about filmmaking either, and I think that changes you, the way you watch films. Just like doing my degree changed the way that I read books. Becoming a filmmaker has changed the way that I see films.
So your mission, the three of you, should you choose to accept it, is to watch The Matrix 2 and The Matrix 3 by our next podcast.
I'm sure I can probably find the time, Greg.
Will I watch it and then regret watching it and wish I didn't watch it and just went back to my normal life?
Maybe you will. But of course, the philosophical, my wife and I, Nikki, we, after watching them again, because we watched them over the past couple of weeks, the kids, we're allowed to watch the first one, the older kids. We don't let them watch the second and third one because of the whole BDSM nightclub scene. My wife and I, we enjoy that.
So I'll watch it.
We don't let them watch that.
Too much information, Greg.
And so we don't let them watch the second and third one, but we watched them again, and we discussed new things about the films. We discussed our different perspectives all these years later about the films. And of course, one of the philosophical discussions around the film is, if you believe in theology, or if you believe in an intelligent designer and a creator, then there's nothing to say that people's belief that we could be in a matrix has to be equally valid. And in fact, there's more argument and more, I don't want to say evidence, but more reason to assume we could all genuinely be plugged into a matrix than the existence of some divine creator.
There's that psychological argument that the option that can be, made sense of the easiest is normally true. So the easiest thing to say is, oh yeah, we live in a simulation, because how can all of these coincidences take place for us to have this world how we believe it to be? So Elon Musk believes that we live in a matrix. He's very smart.
He is very smart, and now the richest person on earth.
Not anymore, apparently. Apparently only lasted for 5 days.
No, who overtook him?
Again by Jeff Bezos.
Really?
Could be wrong, but I heard he was only there for 5 days.
Lockdown. Yeah, everyone orders stuff on Amazon.
That's insane, because at the start of 2020, Musk's net worth, which is of course different to how much money they've got, lots of people will read one and think the other, but Musk's net worth was 20 billion, which is still a lot. By the end of 2020, that had jumped to 193 billion.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's
so
preposterous.
his jump was massive. Jeff Bezos's jump won't be so massive, but to go from being worth that 20 billion to being worth 193 billion is absolutely insane. And we worked out, Bran was like, so how much does that mean he earns a year? And that's when I had to say, no, what you're worth is not what you earn, but let's look at how much his worth was a second. And his worth per second equated to $5,500 a second worth. So like, hold on, wait. He can now afford a Tesla. There you go. No, that's
disgusting.
It's
that is disgusting.
In 10 seconds, he can buy a garage in
It
London.
is sickening. That money could go to. Don't get me started on this one. It's just.
Okay, I get you, but at least Elon Musk is trying to make the world a better place with his ideas. Reusable rockets, cars that won't crash and kill people, cars that will drive
Our
themselves.
oceans are still polluted. People are still dying.
How about poverty? That would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How about toilets?
Toilets
for the world. That would be good.
So this is all a starting place. This is all a starting place for greater things to come. Having like the satellites that he sends up, the SkyTrain satellites, Starlink.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. The satellites and the cars and that's all.
I trust him more than I trust Jeff.
Oh,
right. But you were going to say, the satellites. I'll tell you why they're important. They will bring decent quality internet to developing nations, where that will then help.
The dying world.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's all fair enough. Absolutely valid points. I still think food and toilets is more important first.
Yeah, but you can't enjoy a trip if you don't have good Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, but let's face it, that is the base foundation of civilization now. Wi-Fi.
Rich people just do not understand needing like basic things.
I don't know.
When you
Gates done quite a lot of work on toilets.
Well, there was a Bill Gates interview on Ellen, I believe, both anyway, where he had to guess the cost of things in the supermarkets, and he guessed he guessed like ridiculous prices for these things. They just have no concept.
What you've got to also remember there is that Bill Gates, the Gates Foundation, give half of their net worth a year to charity.
Yeah.
So what are those charities doing with that? And okay, let's lead on to this conversation. Over the past 40 years, since the 80s, all these telethons and all these fundraising things have raised billions for clean wells in the developing nation. Where are they?
Yeah,
we raised the money, the world has raised the money, but they're still not there. That doesn't show a problem with generosity. That shows a problem with somewhere else in the chain.
People having power, the £30 school meals.
Yeah.
So, Scriptworks Productions, where we talk about death,
where we talk about things that really irritate us.
So, but in all seriousness, this is part of what drives us. These are the conversations we have, and these kind of conversations lead into let's write a story about this, because forever the arts have been used to tell stories of the truth. There's a fantastic line in V for Vendetta artists use lies to tell the truth,
Yeah,
whereas politicians
absolutely.
use the truth to tell lies.
Yeah.
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 And you know, these kind of things that annoy us, inspire us, anger us in our day-to-day lives inform the decisions that we make in our creative journeys.
Just look at Black Mirror. I mean, God, that's an amazing series.
Yeah.
Amazing series. And every
What was
single
your
one of
favourite-
those episodes.
What was your
I don't-
favourite episode?
I can't pick
Just
one.
describe it.
I
You don't
like-
have to
I
give
I
a
like
name.
the boy who was being threatened, and you find out at the end why, and you're like rooting for him.
Oh yeah, because I felt dirty. I had to burn all my
Then
clothes.
you rewatch the first scene, and then you're like, oh god, yeah.
Yeah,
It's, I
yeah.
like that one. I think that was very.
The one with John Hamm in it, the Christmas special one, in the cabin with him and Rafe Spall.
Yeah,
That was a very good one.
that was awesome. What was yours that you remember?
I can't remember now. I quite like some of the happier ones as well.
You didn't like
the dark ones are great.
You didn't.
I like the one where the couple are kind of trapped in this world that they're trying to get out of together. That one.
You mean Lockdown? No, I'm just kidding.
Is it called Lockdown? No. They're doomed to go on dates with other people.
Oh,
They have to go on dates with other
I do.
people.
Yeah.
But
Until they
actually
find their
just want-
match.
They just want to be together.
Yes, but the
It's
software
really
forces them into relationships with the people that are their best matches.
Yeah.
Whether they want to or not.
Oh, I see.
Dating apps taken too far. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite episode is arguably the happiest episode, and that say just everything that I'm so soppy. It's San Junipero. I think that's the name, where you have the people that can live kind of on a when they die. Oh no, I don't want to ruin
Get
it.
uploaded.
Oh well, you've just ruined it.
That one.
It's been out for a while.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the man who is in Ex Machina? Is it that one? Or is that a different one?
No, I don't
Is
think
that-
so.
What's his
No,
name?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
Donald
There's so many good episodes of that on there.
That's my favorite.
I need to
one,
watch
because
the new
it's
ones. I
got
haven't seen
happiest
the
ending.
new ones. Is Miley Cyrus in one? I saw a picture of her.
Yes, and that's
Not
such
bad,
a
actually.
good episode.
She's
I might watch it.
brilliant in
So
that.
good in it.
in that episode.
She is very, very talented.
Yeah, she was absolutely brilliant in that episode.
Also,
and
it had some very dark Britney undertones about it.
exactly it.
You know,
Yes, it was great. Actually, do you know what? I think I'd like to do a Scriptworks episode on actors that you didn't think were going to be good that were amazing in something, not necessarily because they were great actors, but because they fit the character they portrayed. I love so I'm a big fan of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. We recently showed the kids the film Clue with Tim Curry because we've been playing Cluedo. They loved the film. Rocky Horror Picture Show, Tim Curry, one of my favorite actors ever. But there's another musical, and if y'all haven't ever seen it, I really recommend you watch it, and it's called Repo, the Genetic Opera. It has Anthony Stewart Head in it, Giles from Buffy.
yeah.
And it's a film. It's a rock opera, so there's songs and music in it about a company who create cybernetic organs for you. So, you know, if you like drinking, then you can have a replacement liver and you can carry on drinking.
Like 3D printed kind of.
Isn't that Jude Law film?
But no.
Like a
I
cyborg.
know which one you mean. But what happens is if you don't keep up your repayments on these organs, the repo man comes and takes the organs back.
Oh.
Ew, just turn it off from your computer. Don't come and get it.
You might have to repossess it.
Yeah, repossess it.
Take it back.
And it gets cut out of you because it's got a barcode. It's property of GeneCo. But Paris Hilton
NHS is
is in the
important.
film,
Paris Hilton's in it.
and she is brilliant in it. Yeah,
Paris
she is.
I've never seen one performance of it before.
Okay.
The Paris Hilton we see is apparently an act. She did this thing, didn't she? So she must be a good actress to keep it up for all those years. That she's not actually, she's actually really intelligent.
As the character she plays, she's brilliant in it. Right. We're going to have to wrap this up because we've been going for nearly 2 hours. I'm desperate for a wee because I've been drinking lots of beer. So let's wrap this up. I hope you've enjoyed our inane ramblings. And this actually did turn into ramblings, didn't it, really?
It really did this time.
Yeah.
You're always laughing, so that's all good.
I absolutely loved it. The 3 people left watching, please let us know if you enjoyed it or not, or you're never going to come back and watch us. So what we're going to do now is let's say goodbye from Chris. Chris, give us some farewell words, you handsome bugger.
Stay safe, be happy, watch lots of TV because we're all stuck inside. You may as well, and support Patreon. Have a nice evening.
On brand. Good job, dude. Good job there, Orla.
Gosh, yes. Well, have a great month, and if there's a film you watched that you hated 20 years ago, try watching it again and see if you still hate it. If you get bored enough, we'll see you next time.
I adore that. I adore that. That's absolutely fantastic.
Well, thank you for watching us and joining us on this rather mad journey this month. Check out the Patreon. Let us know if you think the story is any good or if you think it's shit. Either is fine. And yeah, we hope to see you next month. Do come back. Stay safe, everyone.
That's fantastic. Right then, I shall. I'm going to say something now, and oh look, it's me there. There we go. Now, Corin Spink says yes, very entertaining. Repo Man, great film. It's not Repo Man. Similar concept. One has more blood and violence in it. Repo Man is very different to Repo the Genetic Opera. So, Corin, go and watch Repo the Genetic Opera. Everybody, thank you very, very much for coming and watching our stream of inane consciousness for the past 2 hours. A massive thank you to Rory for coming in and saying hello. We will see you next month. Fingers crossed. We will. Are we going to be in lockdown still? I suspect we are, but we'll see you next month. And
3 weeks.
There we go. Oh, in about 3 weeks.
In about 3 weeks, probably, because we're a week out, aren't we? Because of Christmas.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. Pick a film, watch it. Let us know what film you watched. I love Orla's idea. I wish I'd have thought of that. That's a genius.
And if there's anything anyone wants us to chat about, do let us know, because that could be quite amusing too.
That's it. Right. So everybody, give us a wave and say ta-ta.
Bye.
We'll see you all soon, guys. It's been an absolute blast. There we go.